So, Transformers 1. It's been out for a while now. I saw it for the first time about 2 weeks ago, and I've been trying to make a video about it. But it's honestly one of the hardest videos I've had to make. Because, of course, I like the movie a lot, like everybody did. But I have a lot of mixed things to say, and I was trying to think of how can I make a video talking about the things I didn't like without sounding like I was shitting on the movie or trying to be contrarian. Because while I do think the movie is fantastic overall and was worth watching again, but we'll get to that, there's just a few things that rub me the wrong way about it, and I don't know how to structure a video about those things without sounding like a nitpicker. So I decided I'm going to do something I rarely do. I'm going to go to the theaters for a second round. I have to really like a movie or otherwise feel strongly about it to see it again. Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse I saw 3 times. Spider-Verse 1 I saw 3 times. And I think I saw some MC movies twice, but only because different groups of people asked me to see them again. So it was really important that I see this one again. And I said that since I'm going to be watching this with the video in mind, let me go at a time when nobody would be around. Oh boy. So, this was my only day off today, Friday. And I decided, let's go 1 p.m. on a Friday. The kids will be in school, the theater will be empty. I show up there and it's about what I expected. It's me and 2 other people in the theater. I'm talking to one of them and she's like, I don't know that much about Transformers, but I heard it's good. I said it's my second time seeing it. It's going to be really fucking good. They both seem pretty excited. Great. Movie starts. Theater is empty. Beautiful. I mean, my popcorn, I'm enjoying myself. I'm thinking about the video already because I know what's coming and I want to get my thoughts in order. 10 minutes in, Alita one is saying something, and I think I hear other voices, and it's like a crowd shot, so I think, oh, well, maybe it's just voices in the crowd. But then I hear somebody yelping, and I'm like, is this a fucking auditory hallucination? But I peek up from my seat a little bit, because I'm near the balcony, and I see these people just pouring into the theater in droves. And they're yelling. They're yelling. They're not, like, talking loud. They're yelling. Some of them are yelping. And as they get settled into their seats and I see them kind of hobbling their way up the stairs, I realize that they mostly consist of elderly people. And that's when it clicks for me. It's 1 p.m. The kids are in school. It's a great time to get the old folks out of the home for a few hours. Take them for some movie that's just probably noise as far as they're concerned because they're old and they don't give a fuck. So let's get them out of the group home. Let's take them. So I put it together pretty much right away. The old folks are seated. And I want to preface this by saying this isn't going to be a rant on the old folks' behavior. Because some of them were yelling and groaning in pain and stuff. But it's like, I completely understand. I work with old folks for my job. Some of them are really confused. You just have to be patient with them. It's not their fault. And honestly, it's easy enough to tune it out. But that doesn't excuse the behavior of the attendants that accompanied these poor, unfortunate old folks. The old folks yelling and being confused and stuff is one thing, but these people were yelling at each other, talking about the schedule, seeing if everybody was there, getting a fucking head count really loud over the movie to the point where they were drowning out the goddamn dialogue. And I'm starting to get pissed off because I came here because I wanted to, because the first time I went and people were talking over the dialogue and I said, well, let me go when nobody's around. I'll think about nothing but the movie. I'll get everything straight. But these fuckers are yelling over the dialogue. Then it gets worse. The old people find my row. And I just bought my ticket wherever, and I just chose a row that would be a good seat because I thought there would be nobody there and it didn't matter. But they just so happened to have that row occupied. So I'm moving down until I'm at the very end of the row. So now my seat has gone from pretty solid to complete shit. And sat next to me are 2 attendants. 2 very loud, very obnoxious women that talked through most of the movie. One of them was on her phone with the brightness up throughout the entire movie. And one of them kept getting up from her seat. And when she came back, she was yelling about something like related to her boyfriend. Like nobody gives a flying fuck. I'm trying to listen to Alpha Trion. You stupid. Oh boy. See, there, the mask almost just sat there because it's making me mad even thinking about it. So this is the movie going experience for about 60% of it. The old folks are groaning and yelling in pain. Not their fault. I can forgive them. But the attendants are so loud and obnoxious. They're yelling at each other. When I say yelling, I mean one of them is in the back of the theater yelling to people in the front of the theater like, hey, what are we doing later? Is blah, blah, blah there? Is blah, blah, blah there? It's like, if you're going to coordinate and you obviously don't give a fuck about watching the movie, and you're not even sitting with the old folks, then go outside and talk about this shit, and let the 3 people who actually are trying to fucking watch it have some courtesy for them, and fuck off for a few minutes if you gotta talk. But they just yelled over the movie for most of the movie. And this lady next to me, directly next to me at one point, was on her phone with the brightness all the way up, texting, going on Instagram Reels, just whatever. And then somebody comes up to the row where I'm at and yells over a bunch of the old folks, like yells to the person sitting like 2 seats down from me who kept getting up and coming back and going on her phone. Awful, awful, awful. Really fucking ruined most of the movie for me. So that's when I realized, hey, this Transformers 1 video is going to be easy after all. I don't have to formulate my thoughts. I don't have to get them straight. I just have to do what I do best. Put on the mask, turn on the camera, get a good old-fashioned rant going, because I was getting pissed off at this point. So, here's where it gets weird. So, at around the point in the movie, actually, let me not spoil, but at around the part of the 3rd act starting, right when they're gearing up for the big climax, I'm like, oh my god, the most important scenes in the movie are coming up, and these people are going to be talking over the whole thing. And they were yelling, they were on their phones, etc. You get it by now. But then they start getting up, and they start turning it up. Like, they're screaming at this point. They're straight up, they do have no conscientiousness, nothing for the other people in the theater besides the people that they came with. They're yelling at each other because they're trying to organize something. And this is where the people behind me, the 2 normal people who came to watch the movie, started getting mad, and they said, could you please keep your voice down? They went on yelling. So then I said, please keep your voice. I said it very politely, though. I said, excuse me, could you please keep your voice down? And something weird happened. The theater after that went quiet. There was a big commotion around the time where we were both yelling at them, and then the theater went completely quiet. And I said, I really must be him, because they all shut up really fast as soon as I said that. But it didn't make sense, because even if they felt bad, oh my god. And there was this one part, I'm sorry for going on a tangent, but you know, this is all off the cuff, unscripted. I just got back from the theater 20 minutes ago, whatever. There was a part where I'm just giving the lady next to me the craziest side eye, and I don't care about being polite anymore. She's on her phone for like 10 solid minutes, and I have already seen the movie, so I'm just staring directly at her. You know what, it wasn't even side eye, I was just staring at her with vitriol. And she noticed, and she's looking at her phone, looking at me, looking at her phone, looking at me. I do not care. I do not break eye contact. I shamed that lady into putting her fucking phone away. Oh my goodness gracious. So anyway, back to the present. The theater's dead quiet, and I'm like, something doesn't make sense, because the old folks, bless their souls, I'm glad they got out of the nursing home for an hour or so, but they've gone quiet as well, and that doesn't make sense, because they can't really help it, you know? So I look up, I peek from my balcony, and they're fucking gone. And you know what? The last act, it was mostly empty. There was one guy who, right in the middle of the final battle, got a phone call, and this motherfucker picked it up. But I don't think he was with the rest. He was with the old folks. He was just one rude straggler, extremely fucking obnoxious person who has no manners, picking up his phone. And he's yelling. You don't need to be yelling into the phone. You could just talk into it normally, or whisper, for fuck's sake. There's people in the theater beside you, jackass. Oh, God. So anyway, they're gone for the entire 3rd act. And my immediate reaction is, I have mixed feelings on this. On one hand, I'm so fucking thankful that I could have watched the 3rd act. A very good 3rd act. For all my complaints about the rest of the movie, the 3rd act is almost fucking flawless. There's so many scenes that gives me chills. There was one part where I was getting chills just from the anticipation of a scene, because I remembered it from the first viewing, and I'm like, oh, it's coming up. Oh boy, I'm getting excited. That's how fucking good it is. And they were not present for most of it. But on the other hand, you did all that. You went through all that grief. Clearly you don't want to fucking be here since you're on your phone talking the whole time. And then you don't even stay for the whole thing. They said something about, oh, it's 2:30, we gotta go. And they all fuck off. There was a big commotion because, you know, it's like hurting like old confused people. So there's a big commotion when they were leaving, but then silence for the rest of the movie. Except for the one motherfucker who picked up his phone, but it was great. So that was my experience. The worst theater going experience I've ever had. You know that I'm not the kind of person who likes cheering in theaters. I get annoyed going to your average Marvel movie because motherfuckers are going to cheer. So imagine how pissed off I was getting here. And I held it in pretty damn well, all things considered. Because I was considering just turning to this lady next to me and just saying, could you please put your phone away? And yelling because they're yelling. So what's the fucking difference if one more person is yelling? Everybody's yelling over each other. It sounded like a fucking auditorium. So anyway, 10 minutes of ranting over. If you want my quick thoughts on the movie, very good. If you like Transformers, it's amazing. If you don't like Transformers, it's a great place to get into the series. There's a general consensus that D16's turn to the dark side is a little bit too abrupt. And this was the viewing where I was going to confirm how I felt about that, but since I didn't really get to pay attention for most of it, I'm just going to say that generally, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, he starts off being really aggressive, but being aggressive is one thing. He goes aggressive to deep end evil really quickly, and it's kind of jarring. But, other than that, fantastic movie. I recommend it. Please don't. That's the thing. I was going to say don't see it when I did it, but I saw it 1 p.m. on a weekday. I thought I was safe. I thought that theater was going to be empty, and it was. So, anyway, TLDR, we need to start killing old people. Anyway, have a good one. Till all our fucking one, bro. We got a good Transformers movie. You know what? Fuck me being mad. We got a good Transformers movie. We got a new Dragon Ball game that's fire. And Dragon Ball anime and Dawn to Dawn anime. I mean, it's a good day at the end of the day. But that just killed basically 3 hours of my day. I didn't get to pay attention to the movie, which I desperately wanted to. So, with an 11.5 minute rant out of the way, I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.